Hey, what's up everybody? Brian here with the Holy Roller playing craps on a cruise to earn a free cruise. And today I'm going to show you a little lesson of craps. So if you never played craps before, or if you want a little tips and pointers, I'm going to give you some tips, Holy Roller style. Here we go.
Welcome to the Holy Roller, where it's all about playing craps and winning free cruises. I'm going to show you what it's all about. So let's get rolling.
All right, let's talk about craps. And craps is a game with dice, okay, if you didn't know. And it's all about rolling the dice. I'm gonna talk to you about basics of the game, but I'm also gonna show you kind of like some pointers of what I would give for new craps players that I don't think enough people say enough. And so I hope that this video helps, but we're gonna talk about basics. The puck is off right now. So when the puck is off, you could bet on the pass line or the don't pass line. And so let's talk about these first, and then we'll talk about everything else. I know there looks like a lot when you look at the whole table, but that right over there is the same as this over here. And there's different people that stand right here, and people stand on this side. So it's the same game. It's like almost like two tables in one. This part in the middle is the same for both people, and we'll talk about that in the middle in a minute, but you don't need to worry about the middle is what I was gonna say. All right, so let's talk about the puck being off. That means the game is off. So the first step that you wanna know is that you should only come up to a table, put your money in when that puck is off. If the puck is on, say the puck is on like this, and you walk up to a table, what that means is the game is on. So you do not want to buy in. You do not want to do anything, because whoever's at the table playing when the puck is on, they're playing that game. You're not playing that game. So you can't run up and then try to jump in the middle of someone's game. It's just not good etiquette. It's not proper etiquette. Imagine that. Imagine some people are playing 3-on-3 basketball, and they're playing basketball on a basketball court, and then you just run on the court, grab the ball, and start passing it around, or at least running around the court saying, pass me the ball, right? The dice are the ball, right? So you probably wouldn't grab the dice, but what I'm saying is, if the game is on, wait till the game is off. When this is off, now you can join the game, and then when it turns on, you could be a part of the game. Okay, that's number one rule on craps player etiquette. So anybody that does that, you think you know what you're doing, but you actually don't, because you should never buy in when the puck is on. Okay, wait till it's off. Okay, that's number one. All right, number one, because everything's the number one rule. Number one rule is when the puck is off, you can say the word 7. But when the puck is on, you never say the word 7 at the table. That's the number one rule. Never say 7 if the puck is on, okay? Because that is just bad etiquette. You know, it's like the worst word you can say, you know, because nobody wants that. They don't want to hear that. Because if they have hundreds of dollars and sometimes thousands of dollars is on the table, if a 7 comes, they lose all that money. And so they don't want to hear that word, not from you, not from the dealers, not from anyone. They don't want to see it, they don't want to hear it. So never say it if the puck is on. Now that's the thing about this pass line and don't pass line. When the puck is off, the game is off, we're getting ready to start a game. The dice are going to be passed, and then on the first roll, when the puck is off, you actually want a 7 or an 11. A 7-11 win right here, but a 7-11 lose right here, and we'll talk about what that is in a second. 7-11 lose here, 7-11 win here. If you put $10 right here, because it's a $10 minimum, and somebody rolls a 7, you win that bet. If they roll 11, you win that bet. Now watch this. If they roll a 2, 3, or 12, you lose this bet when that puck is off. Okay, number one rule. Here's the number one rule. The number one rule to understand is there is no such thing as called crapping out. You ever hear and see somebody come up to a table and you see like the point is on, and somebody walks up and they say, well, see, they roll until they crap out. Did you know there's no actual way that you can ever crap out when the puck is on? Because the only way that you can crap out is when the puck is off. And so when you have your $10 here and you roll a 2, 3, or 12, that's called a crap out when the puck is off. A 2, 3, or 12 are the craps numbers. These are called craps numbers. See that C? That means crap. 2, 3, 12. There's 3 numbers that are the craps numbers, and they only lose the pass line. Now 11 is right here, and so if you take the craps numbers and the 11, that's called the horn bet. $1, $1, $1, $1 is the minimum. So you can't bet a horn bet without $4. 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Or you could do craps, which is these 3, and this is 11, which is that one. You could do $1 here, $1 here. So you could do $2 and bet craps and 11. But if you're gonna bet a horn bet, you need $4, $1 on each. If you did $1 here, it would pay 7 to 1 instead of $1 here that pays 15 to 1 and 30 to 1 and 30 to 1. 7 to 1 right here. So if you put $2 here, you'd win 14. You know, but you can't really put $2 on 3 numbers. I hope that makes sense. But 11 would also win here, right? 7, 11 win, 2, 3, 12 lose. So the only way to crap out is when the puck is off. So people that train and teach people that when the puck is on, they roll until they crap out, they don't know what they're talking about, number one rule. All right, here's another number 1 rule. You wanna hear it? Number 1 rule, okay? Number 1 rule, unless you're throwing the dice, okay, you're the one throwing the dice. When you're throwing the dice, you have to have a pass line or a don't pass line. Here's the number 1 rule. If the dice are going that way, so if somebody's standing here, they're gonna throw the dice and then they're gonna throw the dice. It's gonna go clockwise like this. It's gonna go around the table. Whenever the dice are going this way, and if you're standing right here in these 2 spots, actually these 4 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4. So look, imagine you're right here. The dice are gonna be landing against this wall right here, right? That person over there is throwing the dice coming this way. Here's a number 1 rule, are you ready? If you're not throwing the dice and you're standing on this side and the dice are coming this way, do not bet the pass line, okay? Now that's number 1 rule, because what you're doing is you're creating all these obstacles and what we call landmines around where the dice are landing. If the dice hit your chips, that's what's gonna come right there, a 7 if the dice hit your chips. I mean, you can say that's superstition, or you can say it happens 90% of the time. 80 to 90% of the time, it will hit a chip and be a 7. Tell me if I'm wrong. So, number 1 rule, if you're over here and the dice are coming your way, stop betting the pass line with odds. Now you might say, but I wanna win, Well, here's another number 1 rule. Sorry, am I going on a rant? Okay, here's another number 1 rule. Number 1 rule is playing the point always pays more than pass line with odds, okay? So let's talk about that for a second. If somebody rolls a 4 and they're on the game of 4 and you have money here on the pass line and you have money in odds, which we'll talk about in a second, and you have $10 here and $10 here. That's $20. If you had $20 right there, it would pay more than right here. So why does the casino want you to play the pass line? Because you win less money. Okay, so here, I'm making you money right now just watching this video. If you're not rolling the dice, don't bet the pass line. It doesn't make sense. You might say, but what about the 7-11? The 7-11, that's for the shooter. That's a shooter benefit, not everybody benefit. And if you really want to bet on the 7-11, you have the 7 right here and you have the 11 right here. If you really want to bet on the 7-11, you can get 4 to 1 on any 7 and 15 to 1 on Henny 11 instead of even money on the pass line. So if you really want to bet the 7 and 11, do it over here for one roll and don't do it right here, okay? Anyway, that's a whole nother number one rule and rant that I have. All right. Especially if the dice are landing there. So if you are a pass line player and you're like, I know I'm not rolling the dice, but I'm still gonna bet the pass line even though it doesn't make sense, then be on the side here. Don't be where the dice are landing. And you might say, well, can I ever bet the pass line if I'm not rolling the dice? Yes, you can when you're on this side and when the dice are coming towards, away from you. So imagine this person's rolling the dice right here and it's going that way. That means all these people that are standing here, they could bet the pass line. But once the dice start coming this way, they shouldn't bet the pass line, all right? So hopefully that's the number one rule. Okay, number one rule, if you're not rolling the dice, don't bet the pass line. It doesn't make sense. You're just playing somebody else's game instead of your own game. And again, you get paid more if it's on the number. Now let's talk about don't pass, okay? Here goes another rant, right? Here's a don't pass. Don't pass. So let's say, and here, I'm gonna actually roll it and I'll show you something, okay? So let's say I have a pass line bet right here. I'm getting ready to roll over there. There's nobody that bet because they understand the number one rule or craps etiquette. They're not gonna put their money out there and have a bunch of landmines out there for my landing zone. And I'm gonna set up a set and I'm gonna throw the dice and see what happens. So let's see what lands, and that's a 6, okay? So now what would happen? For those that know how to play craps, what's gonna happen is because that puck was off, the point becomes 6. So now the point is 6, all right? So they're gonna put this on 6, and now I have to roll a 7, or sorry, I have to roll a 6 before a 7. I was gonna say, yes, I have to roll a 6 before a 7, but you don't want to say the word 7 when the puck is on because nobody wants to hear it, right? So now I need to roll a 6 before a 7 in order to pass, okay? And because I have to roll a 6 before a 7 in order to pass or win, right? So that's what it means by pass. If I roll a 6, I pass. If I roll a 7, I don't pass, okay? Now, when that puck was off, I could have bet on the don't pass. Or when the puck is off, I could bet on the pass, even though I shouldn't, but I could. And now to win this bet, I would have to roll a 6 before a 7. But to win this bet, I'd have to roll a 7 before a 6. Now, what's the better odds? 7 is always the highest probability. So this is always the best bet, and this is always the worst bet. So pretty much, this is the best bet, this is the worst bet. Why do you think the casino wants you to play the pass line? Because it's the worst bet. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about odds for a second. So now that I got the 6, now there's 36 different combinations, okay? 36 different combinations of these dice. There is 5 ways to make a 6, 5 ways to make an 8. There's 4 ways to make a 5 and a 9. So 4 ways on the 5, 4 ways on the 9. There's 3 ways to make a 4 and 3 ways to make a 10. There's only 1 way to make a 12 and a 2. There's 2 ways to make a 3 and 11, right? We'll talk about those bets in a second. But right now, the highest probability is 7. 6, you know, there's 5 ways to make a 6, but 7, there's 6 ways to make a 7, higher than any other number. So what's the best odds right now? Don't pass. But I didn't know it was going to be a 6. What if it was a 5? What if it was a 4? It didn't matter what number this is. The highest probability and the best odds for winning is the don't pass. Now on any one of these other games, everybody's always going to play the odds, right? You always play the odds. On any game, you always play the odds. But here on craps, people always bet against the odds. They play the pass line and they bet against the 7. They want the point to hit instead of the 7, even though the 7 is the highest probability. It's the best odds is winning on the 7. Now, you know, what would happen is if you are on the pass line, you're playing with the casino. You're playing with the casino if you're on the pass line. If you are on the don't pass, you're playing with the dice and with the odds. Okay, now I have a system where I play the don't pass, but I also play out there as well because I want a long roll just like everybody else. The don't pass just ensures my money. So imagine I have $100 here and $100 there. If the 7 comes, I get my $100 back because I win on a 7 here. If the 6 comes, let's say I do have money on the 6, I can play this and I can play the 6, meaning I could bet the 7 and the 6. So it didn't matter what happens, I would still win. Now, because of the odds and the way this game works, you're still gonna have money at risk, but not that much. You can have, what if I told you you can have you can have $210 on the table, but only risk $10? Well, what if I had 25, right? 30, and 25, that's 110. I had 110 here, and a 7 comes. I get 100 back, but I lose 10. What if a 6 came? I would win 35, but I'd lose 100. So 35 minus, 100 minus 35. So I wouldn't, but I'd still risk money, right? But the difference is I'm still playing the highest probability. Let's see if a 6 can come or a 7. So what happens is they're gonna roll and see if a 6 or a 7 come. Okay, so there's an 8. So an 8 came instead of a 6. So what that means is anybody that bet on the 8, okay, while the puck is on, you could bet on the 8. And remember these spots I was talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Going around on this side. If I was standing in the 1 spot, this little box is my spot. What I would do is I'd put my money right out here and I'd say, give me a $12 8, and they would put it right there. And I know that that's my 8. If I had a 9, that would be my 9. If I was standing over there in the 4th spot, this would be my 4th box, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be where my bet is, okay? Now, what's gonna happen is, right now, because I rolled an 8, if I had money right there, or anybody that had money on the 8, they would win money because an 8 rolled. They wouldn't lose the pass line, they wouldn't lose anything unless there was a field, we'll talk that in a minute. But that 8 bet would stay there. So that 8 bet would still be there, and then I'm gonna have to roll again. And when I roll again, I'm gonna have to try to roll, and what I'm doing, the object right now is to roll a 6 before a 7, okay? So let's see what happens. And that is a 7. Man, 7 out. The highest probability is a 7. So let's talk about what happened to those bets over here. So because 7 is the highest probability, the person that was betting on the pass line lost their money, and the person on the don't pass, meaning that we didn't pass, to pass we had to roll a 6, right? We didn't pass, we didn't win. And now we have to pass the dice, right? We have to give the dice to the next shooter because we rolled a 7 while the puck was on. So you can roll a 7 when the puck is off, but you can't roll a 7 when the puck is on, okay? All right, so let's talk about this field bet here, okay? Now, it looks like there's a lot of numbers, right? But remember, there's only one way to make that, one way to make that. There's 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4. So let's add that up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 combinations out of 36 different combinations. That's less than a 50% chance to win that bet because this is a 1-roll bet. You put $10 right there, and the next roll has to be one of those numbers. So let's see. Let's say we don't play the pass line because we're not shooting the dice, but we're gonna put $10 here. Well, we're gonna roll, and we're gonna see if it is one of those numbers. The puck is off. 7, 11 win. 2, 3, 12 lose. Guess what wins right here? 2, 3 wins. Bar the 12 or push on the 12. 12 doesn't count. That's why bar 12 means 12 doesn't count, okay? So a 12, if I had $10 here and I rolled a 12, nothing would happen. If I had $10 here, I rolled a 12, I would lose it. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see, let's imagine we have $10 right here. Let's see what happens. And it's a 4. So we actually did win that bet. Now, what did you win? If you had $10 here, you won $10. If it was a 2 or 12, it pays double. So $10 would pay double, so you'd win 20. But now the point is 4. Now, do you remember how many combinations are there of 36 to make that 4? Now, there's only one way to make a hard 4, but there's only 3 ways to make a 4. That's one of them, right? The other way would be this way like this, but the other way would be like this, right? So you're either gonna see a 3-1 or you're gonna see a hard 4, which they call that hard ways, which we'll talk about that in a second. So now I have to roll a 4 before a 7 in order to pass or win. So that's how that works. So if that's happening, can I roll a 4 before a 7? There's 6 ways to make a 7. There's only 3 ways to make a 4. Oh my goodness. Let's roll and see what happens. There's a 9. So you guess what happens here? Whoever had money on the 9 gets paid on the 9. The 4 is still the point. We roll until we hit a 4 or a 7. So right now, let's see if I can hit a 4. I'm actually gonna set and try to hit a 4. See, there's a 4 on top. Let's see if I can do it. There's a 4. Nope, it's a 7. Why? Because 7 is the highest probability. There's only 3 ways to make a 4 out of 36 different combinations. So the 4, I mean, what are the odds? Not good. That's why this is the best bet. It's the best odds because there's 6 ways to make a 7 out of 36 combinations. There's only 30 other combinations that won't lose, right? Now you might say, 30 other combinations? That sounds like good odds. Okay, in order to do that, you have to bet a lot of numbers, okay? So look at this field again. What numbers aren't in here? The 7's not in there, so if you had money here, a 7 would lose, right? But also, the 5, 6, and 8 are not here as well. So, if you bet the 5, 6, and 8, and the field, you could win on every roll unless it's the 7. Now, let's talk about $10 on the 5. $10 on the 5 pays $14. If you had $10 here and $10 on the 5, you would lose $10, but then you'd win 4. So that's just a $4 difference. But you'd want to have the 6 and the 8 as well. So if you had $10, and the 6 and 8 have to be $12 each. So if you had $12 and $12, so that's 24, 34, and then 44, right? You'd have $44 to win $4 or $10 if it's a field. If it's any one of these, you'd win 10, right? If it's a 2 or 12, you'd win 20, but let's just count these ones right here. So you'd win $10 or $4. A $44 bet to win $4 is not a good bet. So I wouldn't ever recommend doing that. If this is $10, then you'd want to go up to $15, 18, and 18 because that would pay 21, 21, 21. This would pay 10. So if you had more money out there, so what's that? 15, 18, and 18. 18, 18 is 36 plus 15. What is that? You do the math. You tell me. What is that? $40, $50 to win 10? Now you're talking some good percentages, right? So let's say, and that was a 7 out, so the puck is off. So let's say I have some money out there. Let's say I have a 5, 6, and 8 right now. Right now I have a 5, 6, and 8. Let's roll and see what happens. Puck is off. Let's see what happens. All right, it's a 10, okay? So the point is 10, okay? That's the other side of the 4, by the way. Look at that. The hard 4 and the 10 are the same on the other side, okay? So now the point becomes 10. Now remember when I had a 5, 6, and 8, but the puck was off? If the puck is off, all these bets are off. So even if it was a 5, 6, or 8, I wouldn't have got paid because it would be off, right? But this bet can't turn off. It's always on. This bet is always on. This bet is always on. Okay, you can't turn these off. But those turn off when that turns off, okay? So let's talk about it now. So now we have a 5, 6, and 8. 15, 18, and 18. It pays 21. If that pays 21, this and this pays 10, as long as we don't roll a 7, we're gonna win $10 or $11 because we would win 21, but we'd lose 10, okay? $10 or $11 on every roll. Let's see what happens, okay? So here is a 6, okay? So a 6, we just won $11, okay? So we won $11. Now I'm gonna do this kind of fast. So I'm gonna actually put down the camera and then show you how it works. Okay, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna just roll them, and then I'll take the camera over there, or I'll just tell you. Okay, how about that? No, you want to see it? Okay, there's an 8, so I won another $10, right? But remember, I started with like 50, 60, right? So I need 6 rolls, 5 rolls. Okay, so there's another $10. Here is a 6, another $11. Sorry, $11. So right now I've made $33 of my 50 that I put out there, right? I don't know if it's actually 50. I didn't do the math. What is it? 50, 50, let's see. I don't know. I'm not going to do the math. I'll put it here. There's the math right there. That's what I started with right there. Okay. I started with that, and we've made 3 hits. So $11 times 3, right? So there we go. $33. Here we go. There's another 8. Okay. See how that came hard way? Now, look at, if it had $18 here, I would have got paid 21. I would have lost $10 here, right? So the difference would have been $11. So I've won $11 4 times. But see that hard 8? If I had a bet right there, I'd win 9-1. So if I had $1 here, I would have won $9. Okay? Now the other time I rolled an 8, did you remember the other time I rolled an 8? It was 5. I think it was, no, it was 6-2, I think, right? So 6-2, 6-2-8. That 8 would have got paid, but this 8, because it's not this 8 would have lost. So that's called an easy 8. So it's the same way on all of these. That's called the hard way. This is called the easy way, right? So that bet would have lost over there if it was like this. But because it was a hard 8, that bet would have won. And the only time this bet loses is when an easy 8 rolls or a 7 rolls, okay? So let's see, so we hit it 4 times. We got $44, right? So let's see if we can keep this going. Okay, we got 5. So we got a 5. So now, because we got a 5, we hit it again, right? So now we got, what is it, 5 times? So $55. We have our original money, we won it back, and the money we have out there, or around how much we have out there, we got it back. So now it's all profit. So let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, right when you say we have it all profit, the 7 comes. So with that roll, we rolled about 5 or 6 times, right? 6 times. We rolled 6 times and the 7 came. We lost all of this money, but because we rolled the other times, the other 5 times, we made our money back. So you had to roll 5 times to get your money back. And remember what I said about there's 6 ways to make a 7? So that means out of every 36 rolls, you should see how many 7s? 6 of them. Or out of every 6 rolls, you should see a 7. How many times did I roll? 6 times. Every 6 rolls, you should see a 7. So that means we lost, right? We didn't pass. And now this puck goes off and it passes to the next shooter. Hey, I hope that this was entertaining. I hope you really liked it. This was just one of many videos that I'd love to do in the future. If you like it, give me a comment, let me know. And if there's anything that you have as the #1 rule to not do or to do at craps, let me know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Watch this video if you'd like to see more. And I hope to see you cruising and rolling on a craps table soon. See ya.